About 70 years ago, 5 young Americans and 1 violent tribe. A story that will truly teach you what forgiveness really means. Let's follow the true story of Jim and Elisabeth Elliot. Ecuador, the 1950s. Deep in the Amazon jungle lived the Guarani, a tribe so isolated and violent that they were called the most dangerous tribe on Earth. And yet, Jim Elliot chose to go there. Jim wasn't an adventurer or a thrill seeker. He was a young American Christian who believed these people deserved peace. 1955. A small plane flies over the jungle. Inside are Jim and 4 friends. They drop gifts, tools, food, beginning Operation Friendship. Their hope? To earn the trust of the most violent tribe in the world. January 1956. The 5 men land deep in the jungle, waiting for peace. Instead, a war cry breaks the silence. Angry warriors approach. Jim faces a choice. He has a gun, and he was an elite marksman. In a single second, he could have killed them all and gone back home alive. But Jim did something else. He pulled out his gun. He fired 1 single shot into the air, a final warning. And then he placed the weapon on the ground. He refused to kill them. He knew he was ready for heaven, but he also knew that if he killed them, they would die without ever knowing that God loved them. And then it happened. Within just a few minutes, it was all over. That day, on the wet sand along the riverbank, all 5 young men were left there, lifeless. Maybe you're listening to this and thinking, this is madness. What a pointless, unnecessary waste of life. But what followed? You might say it doesn't sound like a true story, because the story doesn't end here. In fact, this is where it truly begins. Just 2 years after losing her husband, Elisabeth Elliot did something no one expected. She did not seek revenge. She did not ask for military intervention. Instead, she made a shocking decision. She chose to return to the exact place where her husband had been killed. Wait, what? Again? Is she trying to die too? One morning, deep in the heart of the Amazon, Elisabeth steps into the village of the tribe that killed her husband. And she is not alone. She is holding the hand of Valerie, her little daughter, only 3 years old. Behind them walks Dayuma, a young indigenous woman who had escaped the tribe years earlier, learned English, and met Elisabeth in America. Now, they stand face to face with the killers. They have no weapons. Dayuma steps forward, stands before the warriors, and speaks words that freeze them in place. This is the wife of the man you speared, and this child is his daughter. They have come to tell you that they love you, and that they want to live among you. Can you imagine that? For the tribe, this was a total shock. In their world, the law was simple: blood for blood. If you kill someone from my family, I must kill you. When they realized that Elisabeth was Jim's widow, they fully expected that after her would come the American army to hunt them down and wipe them out. Instead, they received help. Elisabeth began tending to their wounds and giving them medicine. She explained that just as Jim refused to pull the trigger because he loved them, she now chose to forgive them as well. She spoke to them about a God who is not a jungle spirit, but a father who chose to let the spear of our sins pierce his own son, so that he could turn enemies into friends. These so-called savage warriors suddenly stood face to face with women and a smiling 3-year-old child. That moment disarmed them completely. As crazy as it sounds, this is a true story. And what comes next? The climax is still ahead. A key role was also played by Rachel Saint, the sister of pilot Nate Saint, who had been killed as well. Elisabeth stayed with the tribe for 2 years. Rachel stayed for 35 years, dedicating her entire life to them. They didn't preach from a distance. They ate the same food, slept in the same huts, and learned the language, word by word. And they achieved what no army ever could. They stopped the law of the spear. The tribe saw in their eyes a peace they couldn't understand and wondered, how can these women love us when we have taken everything from them? Elisabeth later wrote, "Forgiveness is not a feeling, it is a decision of the will. I did not forgive. God loved through my broken heart." Minkai, the man who drove his spear into Jim, was the first to break under the power of this love. He realized that Jim had reflected Christ. What shattered him wasn't just kindness. Minkai knew who he was. He remembered every spear, every war cry, every life he had taken. He knew he was a murderer. By jungle law, he deserved death. But hearing the story of Jesus, Minkai had a revelation. Jesus Christ had died even for someone like him. Do you see the contrast? God looked at this blood-stained savage and saw not an enemy to destroy, but a child to be saved. With tears in his eyes, Minkai later said, "I want to go to heaven. I want to find Jim and thank him for not pulling the trigger, for dying so I could live and know the God who loves me." This is the gospel. Imagine Minkai entering heaven, welcomed by the very men he once killed. Steve Saint was only 4 years old when his father, pilot Nate Saint, flew to the river beach with Jim and the other 3, and never came back. Steve grew up in America, holding on to a few photographs and a deep emptiness in his heart. But in 1994, after the death of his Aunt Rachel, Steve decided to return to the Amazon. He had been there before as a child, but this time, he was no longer a visitor. This time, he was a man facing his past. He reaches the jungle, walking toward the tribe with fear and heavy emotion. And there he stands, face to face with the man who had speared his father, the same Minkai who had killed Jim. Minkai takes him aside and says, "Steve, I killed your father. Back then, I was an evil man. But now I have learned to live differently. Your father never had the chance to make you a man, so I will. From today on, I am your father." Hard to believe, right? But Steve believed him. He didn't just forgive him, he allowed Minkai to become his mentor. Minkai taught him how to hunt, how to survive in the jungle, the lessons his real father never got to teach him. Later, Steve brought his own children to the jungle, and the unexpected happened. They ran into Minkai's arms, calling him Grandpa. When people asked Steve, "How can you trust the man who killed your father with your children?" he answered simply, "Where could my children be safer than in the arms of a man God has so completely changed?" If you look at this story and see only human heroism, you've missed the point. Jim, Elisabeth, Rachel, and Steve were not superhuman. They were ordinary people conquered by a person who changed the course of history 2,000 years ago. Jesus Christ. Why did Jim put the gun down? Because he looked to the cross. There, on the hill of Golgotha, took place the first sacrifice that brought life. There, Jesus Christ, the creator of the universe, allowed the spear of our sins to pierce his side. He did not fire a warning shot. He remained silent, not because he was weak, but because his love was stronger than death. While we were still his killers, he spoke the words that shattered the walls of the jungle. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Jim Elliot did not die on that beach to become a famous martyr. He died because he knew that Minkai, in all his ferocity, was a man for whom Jesus had shed his blood. He knew that Jesus did not come to punish the wicked, but to die in their place.